Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. You sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning to all of you. It's October, and welcome to another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're all over the web, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, IG, LinkedIn, Apple, Spotify, Twitter, X as they call it, and we're always interacting and chatting sports with you, local, high school, college, pro, statewide, everything in the world of sports. I am the one and only Matt Hatfield. The other guy is the coach Ed Young, who is in the trophy case. Something just dropped. Might have been the dog's toy. Might have been a chew toy. Might have been his phone for all we know. We say good morning to you, Edward, as we are now. How many days away from Christmas are we? We like 80, 75? I don't know, something like that. We know we're 26 days away from your least favorite holiday in Halloween. So you'll be the Scrooge that has your house toilet papered because you don't give out candy since you don't believe in it, and you're the bah humbug guy. So what's new in your world? Anything?
The bomb you heard drop was he went to go get his new bone, so he brought it in here, and he's going to chew on that for a while. Other than that, just anxious for baseball tonight with the Yankees. The Yankees getting started. Let me just say this before you start going off, because I must have hit a nerve. All these pundits that say the Yankees have a bye to the World Series, not going to happen. Cleveland, Kansas City, Cleveland, Detroit. No, nobody's laying down for the Yankees. And Detroit might be that team of so-called destiny who was given up at the trade deadline, and now they're beating people. National League. Thank God for the Mets, so Frank the Tank doesn't have that proverbial heart attack. I think it's wide open. I still want to see the Mets and Yankees Subway Series. If the World Series I don't want to see, Kansas City versus San Diego.
That'd be great. I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with that.
That would be horrible.
I'd be cool with that.
I think right now San Diego's the best.
I traded in my Snakes paraphernalia for another team. That's what I did.
You jump ship.
And by the way, baseball, it's America's lame time. It's not America's pastime. It's America's lame time. We have a situation, as I told you for weeks and weeks and days, I told everybody we were going to get screwed. Talk about my Diamondbacks, not make the playoffs, because they decided to move up the Tampa Bay Detroit game. They had the foresight to do that. They couldn't move up the Mets Braves game. We knew it was going to be a split. These teams, all they cared about was celebrating together, division rivals, champagne, taking pictures on the field. What a disgrace and joke and mockery that is. But as bad as that is, and I'm over it from this standpoint, we didn't deserve, and I say we, the Diamondbacks didn't deserve to get in because they blew an 8-run lead a couple Sundays ago in Milwaukee against the Brewers. And they lost 2 or 3 to the Giants. They lost 2 or 3 to the Padres. And they didn't deserve to get in. But the sport, and even more than the Mets and Braves, lacked the integrity. And Pete Alonso, I'm done with you, Polar Bear. Frank the Tank was cursing you from every stone imaginable. You couldn't get a 3-run homer because you're frilling at the first pitch on Monday and the double dip the second game since it meant nothing to you. And it would have been nice if you hit it out to put the D-backs in. No, you go and hit one in the 9th inning against the Brewers just to annoy the crap out of me. But here's what I'm most upset about. Whether you believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame or not, how disgraceful, how distasteful, how absurd is it that Major League Baseball cannot even have a moment of silence before its first playoff game in Houston between the Astros and Tigers for the all-time hit king, even if he did bet on baseball and has been banned from the sport? You're that heartless, you're that gutless as a sport not to have a moment of silence for Pete Rose? Get over yourselves. You can't put out a statement. You can't do anything to acknowledge the passing of one of your all-time greats, because we're gonna be so hypocritical. We want every FanDuel and DraftKings ad known to man. You're that hypocritical, putting up parlay props. You got Roberto Costas. You got Bob Costas coming up during your Yankee and Royal game number 1 tonight. You'll be watching Costas read in the middle of the 4th inning. Get your over 6.5 strikeouts or the over/under live in play prop. He'll be reading that. But heavens forbid, Pete Rose, who again did a bad job off the field to not come clean and wait so long, but you can't even have a moment of silence? The NBA, Bill Russell passes, it's all over the place. The NFL, Walter Payton passes, it's all over the place. Pete Rose, not a peep from Robert Manfred or anybody in the sport. That, to me, shows why it's America's lame time.
Well, I will let you rant.
I just did.
Yes, I agree 100 on the Pete Rose stuff, because I'm one of the ones that have said from day one.
Keep it 100, Coach. Keep it 100.
Keep it 100. I've said from day one he should be in the Hall of Fame. All the PED guys who have numbers, Hall of Fame. You put plaques. You put them in a separate room. Put them by the boiler room. That this is what they did. Give them a little tarnish on their career.
Yeah, put it on the bottom of the plaque, like you do with McGuire, Bonds, Sosa, who aren't in the Hall of Fame and probably won't ever get in because of the steroid situation. But guess what? If Bonds dies tomorrow, you think the sport's not going to have a peep? And I'm not wishing it on anybody. You think they're going to have a peep? Come on.
It's just it's ridiculous. And now it's almost like don't put Rose in the Hall of Fame. You didn't do it when he was living, and you had 30, 40 some years to do it, and you didn't. So why put him in now that he's passed? He can't get nothing out of it. You're right. Baseball is so stuck in tradition.
Too much.
But at the same time,
we're stuck in tradition, but we have no problem putting a ghost runner on in extra innings. Now,
that's another one that's ridiculous.
Thankfully, they're not doing that for the playoffs. But I have to get when we do get Tim Kirkland back on. I know he's a super busy guy. He's come on with us.
Yeah, he texted me this week and said that today was going to be rough because of travel. But
sure, and he was actually calling that Astros Tigers series with Michael Kay, and I think it was Todd Frazier in the booth. So, but we'll get him back on, and we'll address it with other baseball people we did pop on the program. He's our A1 go-to guy for it. But I just have a problem with it, Ed. And more than even the situation with my D-backs, which time heals a lot of wounds, as you know. That time will heal that wound eventually. I will, as I said, though, I will sucker punch all you Mets fans out there that want to just rub it in my face because I'm tired of you all. Sorry. Tired of you all. I'm glad the Braves went out. Way to go, San Diego. I hope you can beat the evil Dodgers. But to not honor Pete Rose, and listen, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Al Michaels, who called games, he was just on with Tony Kornheiser the other day, and he used a not so nice word, but I'd never heard Al Michaels use. He wouldn't be allowed to say it on ABC or NBC because he's on Amazon Prime now doing the football on Thursday night with Kirk Herbstreit. But he basically called it bull. You know what? It is. It's absolutely a big crock because now you have gotten in bed all the sports leagues with betting. And we're not even going to have, again, you don't have to put him in the Hall of Fame right now. It would look a little to some disingenuous if you did. That's a debate and conversation piece for another time. To not have a moment of silence. The guy is dead. It was a lifetime ban. His ban isn't here anymore. Get over yourselves, for crying out loud. Yeah, how heartless can you be?
Yeah, that and not the fact that he couldn't go to some of the games or most of the games or whatever, unless he had special. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. I don't argue with these so-called baseball purists. Oh, he doesn't belong to Story guy. Talk to somebody else because you're wasting your time with me. They belong in. You could put those plaques up. You could put asterisks up. Put them in the room next to the boiler room. Whatever you want to do, but they belong in there. And you're right.
The boiler room. Put it next to the boiler room. Is that what you said?
Yeah, put it next to the boiler room because nobody wants to go next to the boiler room. And you're right. baseball is not our national pastime. I'm a basketball purist, thick and thin. It's football. Football drives this country, period. NFL, period. Look at the ratings. The Mets and Brewers went up against Thursday night football. Football blew them out of the water. Thank God it was a good Thursday night football game. But it's football because they don't play as much.
If you're a Bucks fan, you're still miserable right now. I don't think my neighbor down the street who wears the Tampa Bay stuff is it come out of his house. He's still stuck in there.
And I wasn't happy with Monday night football or Thursday night football because I had the Bucks. One time I pick them, and they can't come through.
By the way, real quickly on that, Raheem Morris, what are you doing, dude? You're going for it on 4th and 15. I know Kirk Cousins led you back. Second time he's done that this year, did it to the Eagles on the road, and they avoided falling to 0-3 at home this season as they lost home games to Kansas City in a game where Morris's decision-making and play calling and choice-making, I should say, was extremely questionable. They also lost the opener to the Steelers, which you give them a little bit of a pass. The defense, they had a chance to beat the Chiefs, but you get the ball back with 3 timeouts. Why don't you punt it down the field? You would have won a regulation or made the field goal a lot easier before they get a penalty before Mr. Koo hits the game-tying field goal. But my goodness, some of these coaches, I mean, we need to give Ed Young a football coaching job. I know you're crazy, but you're not that crazy. You're crazy, but you're not that crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, though. You'd see me, like I said, 4th and inches. I'd be end around, and we'd be doing some crazy stuff. But I don't know. Football coach is a different breed. That's just a different breed, and I'll leave it at that.
It is.
But and getting back to my point where football is king, I think part of that reason is they don't play as many games, so there's more importance on the games. NFL with 16, college football with 12, then they go into the bowls. Baseball's 162 games. It's a long – people don't even get jacked up about baseball until maybe June. And then once their team is out, they're out. So it's just different. And the NBA gets started up now, and
Pre-season.
People aren't concerned about basketball until Christmas Day.
Didn't the Celtics play the Nuggets? I think they played the Nuggets yesterday in the preseason.
Yeah, exhibition.
NBA, by the way. Who you got winning the women's NBA championship? I should say the WNBA championship. Now that Caitlin Clark is out and the viewership and the ratings are down, and people are talking about that.
Yeah, gone.
Who you got? Who you got? Who you picking? I told someone mid-season I did not think Las Vegas would repeat or three-peat, as they call it. Who you got? Do you even know who's alive? This is Ed Young not knowing who's alive in the Final Four right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's the Final Four.
Wow, the Aces are playing a game number 4 on Sunday. They trailed the series with the New York Liberty 2-1. Of course, the Liberty have the great Stewie and Breonna Stewart. The Aces led by Asia Wilson. And then you have the Sunday game. Minnesota's up 2-1 on Connecticut, which actually was my I think that was my pick. The Sun, they show the Lynx 2-1. Nafisa Collier leading the way for Minnesota, and DeWanna Bonner leading the way for Connecticut. So who are you going with? Right now, I'm leaning towards the Liberty. Give me Liberty or give me death. And death might be coming sooner than the Liberty, by the way.
I think on a flash when the league started, their season started, I had the Liberty for some crazy reason. But I did watch a few games during the regular season. I quickly switched to the Aces. I thought they had the best team. And I still think they can win it.
They better win game 4, because if they don't win game 4, it's poof. Adios, amigos and amigas.
And but the WNBA, again, I think it was a Caitlin Clark / a little bit Angel Reese season where that rivalry from college moved into the WNBA. It brought those fans with it. More eyes came on the WNBA. WNBA improved travel and some other things. People put it on Caitlin Clark because of that. People started thinking about, Caitlin Clark's the greatest women's player ever. She saved the league, all this stuff, which gave them eyes. And the WNBA needed eyes like crazy. But it is very interesting. As soon as they got eliminated, the viewership went straight down. That's not good. That tells me people jumped on only because of her. They did not jump on because of the league. And then when she was out, they were out. That tells me they still didn't take a strong hold like they should have. I'm all for it. All for WNBA. We need a women's league to survive and stay strong. But I just don't watch it as much as I thought I would watch it. I just don't. And, I'm going to watch baseball over WNBA. It's just it. I caught a slight glimpse of the Lakers T-Wolves exhibition game that was on late last night.
I haven't put on Sports Center, but I had the college football on. Syracuse UNLV was a doozy of a game as the Cuse, the Orange, beat the Rebels. People are rooting for the Rebs. That whole quarterback fiasco that went on the last week plus, and Oregon blew out Michigan State before a big matchup with Ohio State next week. We'll talk some more college football, make our NFL picks next week, or make our NFL picks coming up later on in the show, the big one next week with Ohio State and Oregon. Real quick before we do the high school football from Thursday night and Friday and all the action taking place, I do want to get your take. You had to have watched Georgia, Alabama last Saturday night, right? That was some riveting theater and drama. Alabama gets up 28 donut. Georgia comes roaring back behind Carson Beck, who put a couple passes up for grabs. And then two freshmen stepping up to save the day for Alabama. True freshmen. We're not talking about some, red shirt. He's been sitting around a couple years and got the COVID year freshman. Two freshmen just making dazzling plays, as it was Jalen Milroe throwing the TD pass after they lost the lead to Georgia. He gets it done to Ryan Williams, 75 yards, 2:18 to go, and then Xavier Brown with the INT in the end zone to seal it. And those two will probably meet again, perhaps an SEC championship, and dare we say a Chapter 3 in the same season, should it be at some round, semifinals, title game, somewhere in that realm in the college football expanded playoff for this year. And the same could be said for Oregon, Ohio State. There could be a Chapter 1, a Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Big Ten championship final. What's your feeling on that? People said it diminished the importance of those games. If you watch that one, the drama and excitement was as great as it's ever been in some of these SEC rivalry matchups we've had. I say hogwash. Hogwash. Hogwash.
Yeah, the Bama-Georgia game was just tremendous. I mean, if we get a national title game like that, that's going to be that's just the best thing we can ever hope for. Yeah, and I believe they can meet again. I really right now.
And by the way, kudos to Damian Sorlett. Remember, he thought it would be a high-scoring game. He liked the over. He nailed it.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be. I had Alabama, but I thought it would be lower, probably under 33.
It was looking like it would be in the 20s when it was 28-0 at that point, or maybe 30 to 20 something. But it shot up quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of scoring, and I guess it's just a sign of how strong those teams offensively are, not how weak they are defensively. It's how strong they are offensively. I like to think that those two would be in there, but I still got a lot of eyes on Ohio State. Oregon impressed me last night. Oregon is quick. Dylan Gabriel is legit.
Yeah, but he had those two red zone INTs, and I think the Buckeyes might be a little more fine-tuned. Oregon's got to clean up some things. And, of course, you don't want to show everything before you play a big rival or a big matchup, I should say, like the Buckeyes here. So they probably held some stuff back. But and Oregon's defense is a little more improved than it's been in recent years. They showed some signs last year, that big spotlight game where they just spanked Colorado. And speaking of which, Dion got a big win over UCF, and now the Buffs are starting to get a little more steam. Travis Hunter, Heisman talk, is picking up more steam. Milroe's the favorite now, just ahead of the ballyhooed quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, who dazzled in that controversial finish and win they had holding off Virginia Tech last week. So I would put Milroe 1. I'd put Cam Ward 2. I've got no problem Travis Hunter 3 or 4, even if you think he's the best player in the sport. But Colorado needs a couple more signature big statement wins. UCF, it's nice on the surface. It doesn't quite have the pizzazz cachet of what Milroe has done or what Ward has done. And guess what? Colorado's going to get a couple of chances coming up. Not so much today, but next week they host Kansas State, who's a top 25 team, 4-1. If he starts in that game, that might be his shot to kind of increase his odds and chances.
Yeah, I agree. I think Travis Hunter, pure athlete, maybe the best pure athlete out there. For some reason, when we talk Heisman, my head goes right to quarterback.
Everybody's does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
the running backs get screwed. The receivers get screwed. It does.
Once upon a time, I thought running backs had focus in the Heisman. Every once in a while, receiver, but it's 98% quarterback. Because quarterback is so important in football. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not in the championship talk, period. Yeah. No matter how great your defense is or whatever, quarterback is that important. But Travis Hunter is legit. But
too legit to quit.
Yeah. Colorado, I almost think they need to run the table for him to win the Heisman because
I don't know if I go that far. That's asking a little much. Because they run the table during the playoff, and then they'll make Dion vice president.
No, I'm talking run the season. Run the table. I mean during the regular season. Colorado's not winning a national title under any circumstance.
But that's what I'm saying. If they run the table regular season, right, they might even tell Kamala and Trump to get off the stage. They'll make Dion the president. I mean, the people will go gaga, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Everybody will go crazy if he goes runs the table. I mean, Dion will be on every billboard in America. You think he's on enough Aflac commercials with Nick Saban now? Good gracious. I mean,
Florida State would pay for everything in the world to bring him in.
They'll be bumping Bronny off the top line with his daddy LeBron on SportsCenter and make him the number one item. Just as if Dion gets off the plane and coughs, that's going to be like top story.
Yeah, they're not. They got a shot going into the 12, yes, but they're not winning the national title.
But I don't think they have a real shot to get to the 12 either. They've shown some strides and improvement. I'll give them their credit. But I don't think they're going to win out against Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and then I'm a man, I'm not 40. Mike Gundy's Cowboys have been a little bit of a disappointment this year. And they got a tricky one today, do they? That's the last game of the year on November 29th, that day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday. The Pokes with Mike Gundy trying to avoid dropping to 3-3 as they take on West Virginia today, and then they go to BYU. It could be coming to an end for Mike Gundy, who's had a really long tenure there. He and Kyle Whittingham at Utah have been at those respective schools for the longest times ever. And Utah just beat them 22-19. Kansas State followed up with a 42-20 thrashing, if you want to call it, of the Pokes of Oklahoma State. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout and come back with our high school football results, thoughts, all the action from Thursday and Friday. You'll see some highlights coming up, too, of a game our man Jack Lowe from Cova Sports was at. It's all coming your way here. We've got NFL picks on the way, too. 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Cova Sports TV, because when you hit the subscribe button, you will get live notifications when we go live with all different shows and podcasts and things like that, including On the Hash with Hatfield and so much more. And you can always check out things, if you didn't see it live, archived through our various playlists. Go find that up there as well. But let's take a quick time out. And don't forget, coming up next month is the Neptune Bowl. Maybe Ed Young will be able to do the coin toss at the Neptune Bowl. That'd be pretty cool. We can't have you throw out the first pitch. There's no first pitch, but maybe something like that. We'll put it in the works. What is the Neptune Bowl? We'll find out.
Don't miss the third annual Neptune Bowl. College football only comes to Virginia Beach once a year. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot. Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that Infernal Revenue Service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
So how do you get a squirrel to like you? Acts like you're nuts.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Twitter, or X as they now more commonly call it, Hatfield Sports 2K4 on Instagram, all over the web, including LinkedIn, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Edward, we've got some high school football content for all of you out there. Scores took over from Thursday night. Would you like to rev it up and do so?
Yeah, let's rev it up. Let's do so. I saw some of the scores flash by.
You saw some of them flash by.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to them since we were not talking about it, but I did look at a couple. Okay. And I see I got burned by some teams that have burned me in the past.
Okay. By the way, Dan says hello. He needs you on staff today in Richmond. All right. That's an extended
what is going on in Richmond I need to be on staff for?
I'm sure he'll chime in and let you know. I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but he can fill us in on that. So let's bounce with the music as we bounce it along here on the program. And also our man Jack Lowe saying hello as the Who's are in action. Big one today against BC. I found out Zach Staten from Channel 3 is a big UVA fan last night. Spoke with him at the Salem Green Run game I was at. And, UVA, big opportunity today taking on BC. Have you looked at the, and again, you can't put shekels down in the Commonwealth on VA teams, but have you looked at the line of that game? Do you have an opinion or perspective as UVA hosts Boston College and they're not an underdog today?
They're picking Virginia to win?
Well, I mean, the lines, the odds makers have them as a slight 1.5 point favorite in that game.
Ooh.
3-1 taking on 4-1 Boston College, who can be really tricky. And I'll be honest with you, if Calandra, I know Jack was giving me a hard time last week, as he should. If Anthony Calandra can protect the football, he's got 7 TDs to 4 interceptions this year. The running game's a little hit or miss at times. Same can be true for BC. I think they got a real shot in this game. BC is not going to be an easy win, that's for sure. This feels like fingernail biting time, Jack. 20-17, 23-20. Somebody's going to be going for a game-winning or game-tying field goal, I predict, in the last 2 minutes as you shake your head over there. I think that's what's going to happen.
I feel that. I feel game-winning field goal by Virginia.
Oh, you're giving it to VA.
Field goal by Virginia.
Okay.
A few days ago, I would be thinking, no, you told me Boston College, Virginia, Boston College by 14. I think Virginia.
You can put that game on today. I won't, because I'll be on the way to Darling Stadium for Hampton Phoebus as part of the Great American Rivalry Series, and your Yankees don't play till later on in the evening. Will you put that on at 12 noon on ACC Network? Because your options, you got SMU Louisville at noon. You got ESPN2 to watch undefeated Pitt at North Carolina as Mac Brown's coaching career is probably coming to a halt soon. We got to get Andrew Jones from Charlie Illustrated on. We love Andrew. We've had him on from THI, the UNC rival site. And I just got to hear how angry these UNC fans are that are ready for basketball season after giving up 70 2 weeks ago to JMU, which I know delighted Donnell Brown. We had him on, the head coach of Hickory, on our On the Hash with Hatfield. I told him he could razz the former Hickory coach, Jupiter Wilson, who played at UNC. Hickory had a tough, close loss we'll get to in a moment from Friday night against Deep Creek. So we didn't avoid the jinx there. Hickory made a comeback, almost pulled it off against Deep Creek. So they dropped to 3-2. But my goodness, the CW's got Wake Forest, NC State. Ed, I think you could watch that game at noon if you're not going anywhere, which I don't know what your Saturday plans are. You can watch UCLA Penn State on Fox. Does that game grab you more than UVA BC?
I'm going to say yes, because normally you don't see UCLA and Penn State in a regular season matchup.
UCLA stinks. They're 1-3.
I think Penn State is going to win that fairly easy.
What do you want to watch that? Penn State. I want to watch James Franklin when he goes down in flames, because I don't care for that guy.
You're not a Franklin fan.
No, I'm not. He's the same guy as Mike Francesa nailed him a few years ago. What do you do taking a timeout to block the field goal, you jerk, you dope, up 56-0 against a cupcake team? You also got Missouri, Texas A&M, 2 top 25 teams at high noon. I like A&M in that game.
I do too. And I tell you what, that's another game that might be tops at that point. Missouri, vastly underrated, but ranked. But I think Texas A&M, going into Texas A&M, a tough place to win it. I would go with A&M in that game. But I feel good about Virginia knocking off BC. But like you said, I think it's going to be close. It won't be no walk away.
Sure. All right, let's get to it from Thursday night. There was 3 games involving 7-5-7 teams, as it was on Thursday night. The Woodside Wolverines took care of business against the Denby Patriots. Tommy Reeman's team could not make it 2 wins in 3 games, 55-13 for Alonzo Coley's Wolverines, who are now an even 3-3 on the year. Over at Darling, a shutout was pitched by Bethel, 35-0 against Kickingham. Kickingham has yet to find the end zone this season. I think they're the only team now that hasn't done so since Booker T. Washington did get a touchdown on the board in their loss to Lake Taylor on Friday night. But, Ed, the real story to me about Bethel, and they're now sitting at 2-3. They got Gloucester next, Heritage, Denby. They could get a little win streak here. And they played Phoebus rather competitively last week. I don't know if you saw it. Up until 2 minutes to go in the first half, they were up 21-14 on the reigning 3-time state champion Phantoms. They ended up getting outscored from there, 42 donut, including 35 donut after a tie at halftime. But Bethel is making some strides. And I'm telling you, we had Dwight Vick on. I was rocking my Victory Legacy shirt last night. Give props to his nephew, Derek Fisher, at quarterback, 10th grader who's making some strides. He's one of those 10th grade quarterbacks that belongs in the conversation with all these QBs and athletes in the class of 2027 that's making noise. And Amari Pryor found the end zone twice against Phoebus. When's the last time a player had 2 touchdowns against Phoebus? So, in a loss, weird as it sounds, a running clock loss, I feel like Bethel showed some improvement, and that could springboard them to getting one of those final playoff spots in 5B. And David Porter's looking for that turn-the-corner moment to get them on the right track as far as being a contender. You know, last year they were showing some steps of that, and we had them on in the summertime. But Bethel could be a little sneaky down the stretch. Don't sleep on them. They might even pull an upset down the stretch if they see a Hampton or somebody. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
Well, to play Phoebus in that manner, yeah. And we had said that we thought Bethel could be the most improved team in the 7-5-7 back in the summer. I picked them to beat Nansemond River first game of the year in a close one. That didn't happen.
But they're starting to figure some things out offensively. It took them a little while to figure it out.
Right. It just took them some time to maybe get it going, and playing Phoebus as well as anybody's played Phoebus in a long time could be the one that spurs them on to do some good things down the road. So, yeah, keep eyes on Bethel.
Hey, shout out to our pals, Deep Creek Football. We love Andre Twine out there. They're watching on IG, as I see they just popped on the screen here. Always interact with us. Any comment, questions, thoughts you have, you can do so through our channels with Cova Sports TV on YouTube, on Twitter, X at My Hatfield Sports, also on IG, Hatfield Sports 2K4, and, of course, on Facebook. Find me, find Ed, send us a note, send us a comment, interact with us here on Cova Sports TV. All right, one more game on Thursday night, the game that I was out at, Lafayette Rams, a winner as the Rams rumbled past the Grafton Clippers, doing so in convincing fashion by a count of 58-20. 58 points with a backup quarterback. Not too shabby, Edward. Would you like to get the thoughts of one Andy Lynn, who we haven't had a conversation with in a while on the program?
Yeah, let's see what Andy had to say about his ball club, which will be going deep into the playoffs later on.
I'm totally with you. Andy Lynn's Rams got a win, gave up almost 300 yards of offense, but hey, they still won by a running clock margin against the Grafton Clippers with a number of key starters out, and they were dominant last week in beating Smithfield, who pitched a shutout on Friday night of the York Falcons. We've got Lafayette number 3 in the state on VirginiaPreps.com in Class 3, only behind TJ of Richmond. and the defending state champion Liberty Christian Bulldogs, who they fell to in last year's title game out there in Lynchburg. Could see them again this December. Here's Andy Lynn with us on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with the head football coach of the Lafayette Rams, Andy Lynn. His team wins at 58-20 over the Grafton Clippers, here to move to 5-0 on the season, 14th consecutive win in the series. Coach, this is one of those strange games where you did a lot of things well, some things you got to clean up, missing a bunch of starters. What's sort of your assessment as you get ready? We're at the midway point for game number 6, and you guys have been humming coming in, 49.3 points per game, 1.5 allowed. So you've been playing pretty mistake-free, great football.
Yeah, again, I think it is nice to win, but it's always nice to be able to have something to coach this week. You understand? I mean, sometimes you can win and be like, oh, shoot, we played pretty well, and I got to make up some things. But no, we made foolish mistakes. Penalties were awful. Alignment bad. But the good thing was, we probably played 6 to 8 kids who have not started before, who got a lot of experience tonight. So that'll help us down the road. We should get everybody back next week, so we should be good.
And what was the number you told me in pregame? Is that 6 seniors? How many seniors you got on this team? It's not a lot, right?
How many? 6. 6 that play.
That's not a lot. So you have a lot of juniors, sophomores, freshmen getting their feet wet. Backup QB tonight, and Talon Leach coming in for Baum Hogg, who's been a 10th grader making a lot of noise for you. But I want to go to Breon Stokes, 4 rushing TDs. You have a lot of variety in your ground game. Last week it was Braden Smalls. You also got Joshua Simpson. You've been known for that in your wing tee over the years. The Stokes kid was a defensive stud last year. Now he's touching the football for you.
Well, we really wanted to play him a little bit of fullback last year too, but he was young, and so now we're getting. Well, we've had some other kids step up at nose guard a little bit. Now he's still a beast at nose guard, but as you can see him at fullback now, he's just a different kind of. I think he's 4'2", so and his legs are this big, so it's he's tough to tackle.
For sure. And you have that defensive front with him, Tristan Harris, and then Daniel Jackson, who tonight at tight end made some plays for you. He's been making plays for you in the passing game all year long. Do you feel like this team has a lot of, I guess you could say, potential you haven't reached yet as far as what you guys can do?
Oh, absolutely. We got a long way to go.
Yeah.
We're not clicking. It's funny, we were talking before the game, last year, the team that ended up so good, when we played War Hill last year at this point next week, we were not very good.
Yeah.
And then come state championship, we were pretty good.
Yeah.
So there's a long way to go. Still a lot of young kids to get right, but got the potential to be pretty good.
Yeah, and your offensive line, I thought, even though Grafton hit some plays, and to credit them, they put a lot better than they did last week against Bruton. They were up
absolutely.
for you guys. Their passing game made some plays. They were pretty efficient at times. It felt like you guys closed, but you rallied to the ball well defensively, and your offensive line blew them off the ball, which you guys do week in, week out.
Well, we've gotten the offensive line is experienced, and then and like I think I told you before the game, we're not a slow mow you over. I mean, they move, they're quick, and we can get things going. They have again a young group that can, what was this? Is game 5, so 10 games from now, and hopefully there at Liberty will be rolling.
Couple for you, what did you sense from the group that came back last year? You get to the state championship, you played Liberty Christian hard in the second half. That this group has to feel like there's some unfinished business to try to get back there come
exactly
December.
Right. They're really, really hungry. They got there and then played such a very good second half against that team last year that they know what they're capable of.
Sure.
Yeah.
And lastly, you guys are putting up eye-popping numbers, almost at times yawning through it, but there's also unfinished business within your own district. You got War Hill next. There's some teams that have been making some noise, the Pecosins, the Brutons, you name them. I feel like this group probably, tell me if I'm wrong, chip on their shoulder, want to show we're still the king.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. They and especially next week, they've in fact they've beaten us 2 of the last 3 by a touchdown each time. So a lot of unfinished business next week. So.
We'll go enjoy it. Well, may not be 78 points, but we thank you so much.
Well, we're going to do what we can. I can guarantee you.
Appreciate it. Good job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
So that was Andy Lynn with us here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel here. The Rams now sitting Edward at 5-0 on the season. You saw a moment ago. We'll put it back up here on the screen. Their upcoming games and their results thus far. They've won every contest by at least 31 points. Their opener was the closest one they had. And here they sit looking mighty, mighty strong. And they win this game. What is it? First of all, he talked about the penalties things, correcting some of those things, but it is good to coach, some stuff in practice, even if you don't play, a perfect game, which is so hard to do. Everybody, says they want to do it and strives for that. But I saw them get 14 flags for 110 yards on Thursday night. We'll get to the green run game and Brandon Williams' thoughts for the Stallions as they beat Salem 40-18. They had 16 penalties for 147 yards. I was at a game on that last Saturday of August with Granby and Denby. The second quarter took about an hour and 25 minutes to play, it felt like, with 12 penalties apiece on each team in the first half. It's been a running theme for good, bad, and ugly teams. I'm not trying to call the kids and players ugly, but it's been a theme all year long. It feels like there's more penalties than ever. Do you have a reasoning for that? Changes in some rules? Again, you can't just point to it being great teams, or bad. It's happening kind of everywhere.
Well, usually the penalty is a result of poor execution, losing your cool if you get unsportsmanlike penalties.
But I don't think of Lafayette in that realm, so I'm not trying to pick at them. I mean, this is happening every big game I've been to, and I don't have all my stat sheets in front of me from the Oscar Smith games, the Kings Fork Indian River, all these different games. I don't have all these games in front of me, but I can just tell you the last two winning teams I've been to had a total of 30 penalties. That's not the norm, at least in years past, but it seems to be, and that's one district, another district. So you can't just pin. Some people will say the Bay Rivers officials are bad or the Beach officials are bad. You can't just say that when I go to two different, and then it's been in other games too.
Yeah, you're right. It usually teams that get penalized a lot usually just are not in sync, and it's not usually your good teams. That makes it odd when you see it. Teams of the nature you're talking about getting the penalties. It makes you wonder. But again, when you made a comment about ugly, it's not. The game is ugly when it is slow and it is penalty laden. And I don't think football coaches get any angrier than when their team gets a big gain and something happens where they were holding or offsides, whatever, or if it's on the defensive end, roughing the passer, late hit, leading with the helmet, things of that nature that all football coaches talk about, preach about, go off about, work in their practices to make sure that it doesn't happen. And the younger level, I attribute a lot of times to immaturity of kids on the mistakes they make. Sometimes it's the younger kids that's being a little nervous on the play. You might jump the gun in terms of on offsides and illegal motion play, something of that nature. The ones that would get me the most if I'm coaching football would be the unsportsmanlike penalties, the late hits, the leading with helmet, doing something that it should have never happened. High school, you can't really do a lot of touchdown dances and all that kind of stuff. You'd see it a lot more in the NFL, but stuff of that nature would make me go crazy because you're losing yardage. Your penalties are wasted plays.
Yeah.
And you score a touchdown and you have to bring it back. That's crazy. Or you make a great defensive stop, but yet you had a penalty, and now we march 15 yards and give a good team better field position. That would drive me absolutely crazy.
Before we take a break, and we're going to hear from Brandon Williams, head football coach of the Green Run Stallions, a winner on Friday night from Salem. Go through the scores from Friday's action as we move it towards the 10 o'clock hour, which is in the past our customary start for this podcast. And before we did the podcast, the radio show for about a decade, dozen plus years or so. And we'll be signing off before 11 a.m. this morning. Lafayette's schedule. So we'll flash it back up here on the screen for you. Again, the results they've had to this point and who's on deck. War Hill coming up, who beat them last year. You heard Andy Lynn reference that. They'll get Baum-Hog back, I would think, for that game. Tab, who took an unexpected loss to Nukin, as Ed's going to go, daggone it, I knew I should have picked Nukin. They always get me. Shake my head. Listen, you actually got a game or two on me, including that Kings Fork over Indian River game, as your Suffolk friends helped you out in that one to close the gap. You were down by 6 games to me coming into the week. So following War Hill and Tab, they take on Jamestown. They play York on a Saturday game. York got shut out by Smithfield. I see a 9-0 showdown, and it's not the Maury Granby game, which we'll be talking about, I'm sure, very soon. It's 9-0 Lafayette, and dare we say 9-0 Poquoson end of the year. Poquoson in Class 2. Now, that was a close battle last year. Pocoson's got a quarterback who's out with the, I think, broken collarbone from Eli Tyndall. They've had some tight battles. They had the Islanders after that Lake Taylor win that they had pretty comfortably to start the season off. They've had a couple games decided by 7 points or less with War Hill and Tab. But is Lafayette going to get tested at all before the playoffs?
Yes.
Who and when?
The War Hill game. War Hill is not as good as they were last year. They'll give them a battle. They're not going to.
When you say battle, what does that mean as far as score or texture of the game?
I think early in the game it could be close, but once Lafayette kicks in gear, they just going to. I mean, the game that they just played shows you that guys out. They put people in,
sure,
and they all perform great. So their depth now goes up even more so.
Right.
So coach can pick. He can't worry about, well, they haven't played a lot. They're going to hurt us and whatever. He's put the kids in, and they did a tremendous job. But War Hill can, I think maybe Pecosin will be up for that game for sure. I like to think Blue Smoke over there at York can do something, but I'm just not sure he has the numbers of the type of kids he needs to beat a team like a Lafayette. To beat Lafayette, you, as they say, your A game has to be there. You got to hope they are off a little bit, and you're playing one of your better games. That's even the good teams, like a good team like a York. But I think they'll win the rest of the way. But I think it won't. Not everybody's going to lay down like a doormat for them. I don't think so. But
do you have a doormat?
I don't think they're going to really get real tested until they get deep in the playoffs, and it probably won't be to the championship game. And I think it would be Liberty Christian. That would be the game. I'd love to see that one.
Sure. Do you? And maybe you. Well, if you would love to see it, we can send you out to be our correspondent for the game at.
I charge
Liberty.
too much.
What do you charge? What's the price?
Well, seeing that I got to drive out. Where's the game going to be played?
At
UVA?
Liberty University in Lynchburg, which, by the way, the hospitality food there, I've been there for 2 state championships, is top notch. Like, it might even be a little bit better than what they have at VCU for the state basketball tournament. And you know how good that food is that we hammer year in and year out. It's really good. Really good.
I would probably charge I would set top of my head about $300 tags.
We can make that happen.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to come up with $500.
But you're going to have to get dressed up in your suit and not the Ryan Clark ice cream sandwich suit he wore on Friday during all his ESPN shows with First Take and Stephen A. You got to get dressed up in your suit. You got to do the interviews. We want to see you be Mr. Sideline Reporter Maestro. Look a little dapper and sharp and snazzy.
I could try to get somebody to sew 2 of my suits together, and I can match with Ryan.
Sew them together? Why would you want to look like an ice cream sandwich?
Yeah, I can look like an ice cream sandwich with that one too. Ryan Clark, when he came on set, I thought he was so confused that he wore both suits. He didn't know which one to wear, so he just wore both. But hats off to him. He put
Iman Shumpert's outfit the Wednesday program on First Take with Mad Dog and Stephen A. and Molly. He put that to shame. He was like wearing shorts with, I don't know what Iman Shumpert was wearing. I don't know where his head is, but anywho. Hey, one more thing. You said doormat. Do you have a doormat in your house? You said doormat, not doormat. Do you have a doormat in your house?
Mm-hmm. Before you come in the house? Oh, yeah. You got to wipe your feet.
I've got one too. You know what mine says?
Arizona D-backs.
I have one outside that says Cardinals, but I've now swapped that out since they stink so bad at 42-14, and it says go away. Leave me alone. That's what it says. Hey, we've got a double feature when we come back. Would you like to tell the folks what's on deck?
Well, the double feature seems to be what? We got Green head coach.
You're thinking of Turkey Hill ice cream, aren't you? That's what it is. I know it.
Green Hill, yeah. I'm thinking of that. And Tyler No, great coach over there at Cox High School.
Yeah.
We'll talk about his team's comeback against Ocean Lakes with Jack Lowe. And, of course, Brandon's going to talk with you. Jack will talk with Tyler, and I'm not talking with anybody. I'll just listen.
That's right. You listen and take notes and provide words of wisdom to our loyal listeners and viewers out there. Interact with us, whatever's on your mind. Chime in. It's Cova Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk, and we'll be back right after this. You're going to hear from the Drip Bar and some others that make it possible for us to do this with you. Stay tuned.
yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes, with experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Jacob Ramsey, the line judge, Justin Nelson, the Tom York, Zach Jones, and number 50.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
So you saw some highlights right there. Cox a winner 32-24 as they rallied past Ocean Lakes in a game that had a combined 41 points in the second quarter, right up Edward Young's alley. So I'm sure you'd like to hear what Coach Tyler Noe told Jack Lowe, our man from Cova Sports TV, following the exciting Beach District battle, would you not?
Absolutely. I like those highlights. I see they put the ball in the air a lot.
Yeah.
They put the ball in the air a lot. I'm trying to tell these guys, high school coaches.
Look at the numbers. I just sent you the box score from our man Doug Ripley over there, who does a fantastic job. Shout out to Doug doing the numbers for Cox and the PA. How many pass attempts did they have? It was a lot.
Let me pull it up. Let me see. We got
it had to have been at least 30 or 40. Had to have been.
Combined, yes. Ocean Lakes was 5 of 22, but Cox was 12 of 18.
Which is really efficient for them because coming into the game, we wrote this in our in-depth previews, which you can always check out on virginiapreps.com. They were just 15 of 38 on the season. So they almost matched their number of completions in one game with MJ Lemke coming in for Max Palmerton. How about that? And Ocean Lakes' passing was much more efficient. And you say, how did they score 24 points in the second quarter? Well, we'll tell you about that. But let's hear what Jack had to say and ask Tyler Noe as the Falcons are looking good now, 5-1. Here's our conversation on Cova Sports TV.
All right, I'm here with Cox High School coach Tyler Noe after their 32-24 victory over the Ocean Lakes Dolphins. Coach, you guys struggled in that first quarter. Talk to me about what went wrong and what kind of adjustments y'all needed to make to get going.
Yeah, we couldn't move the ball. We made a change, put a more passing quarterback in. Our kids didn't give up at halftime. We talked to them, made some good halftime adjustments on offense and defense, and the kids they don't quit.
Yeah, so Max went down with that sack. You guys bring in MJ. Talk to me about how you have to open up the offensive playbook, the kind of adjustments, how you need to change up your offense to cater to his play style more.
We are going to run the same offense that we run all year. It's all about the preparation that we put in on the practice field over there, and MJ bought into it, and he wasn't getting playing time he wanted to, but when he come out here, he can shine.
Would you say you provided a spark plug?
I would say he's provided a big spark plug for this offense.
Absolutely. So the second half, y'all's defense showed out until the end there. What went right with the defense as opposed to giving up 24 in the first half?
Our defensive staff, led by Brian Graham, the defensive coordinator, makes great halftime adjustments.
With the victory, the Falcons
and those kids, like I said, they just don't quit. And we just go out there and we play as hard as we can until the last seconds off the clock.
Absolutely. Take me through that last defensive drive. Almost gave up the touchdown with the holding call. What's going on the sidelines? How are you guys getting your kids to finish strong?
We're just trying to keep calm on the sideline. They feed off our energy. We can stay calm. They play. We put in the hard work on the practice field Monday through Thursday so these kids can ball out.
Absolutely. You guys get the bye next week, and then you turn around, you play Tallwood right here. What's the rest and preparation like for the next 2 weeks?
I don't know. We got to talk about it as a staff, but I'm sure these kids, they earned some days off next week, that's for sure.
So there you heard it. That was Tyler Noe of the Cox Falcons discussing his team's 32-24 come from behind triumph with the Ocean Lakes Dolphins to improve their record to 5-1 on the season. Ed, as you peruse those numbers and hear what Coach Noe had to say, I feel like they're still pretty underrated. They took that loss on the chin to Green Mountain, which you're going to hear Brandon Williams said after their win last night over Salem in the Beach District Showdown that by the way, I hate to beat up on fans. When I got there, that place was not that packed, and it ended up being packed later on. Trust me, the parking lot was a mess getting there at Salem on Friday night. But nonetheless, Cox is looking good here. They're in position to possibly, dare I say, close out 9-1, 8-2, get a first-round home game, which we talked about last week. That was so essential. Last year, they got picked off in that 2-7 matchup, opening round, the blocked field goal return for a score by Kempsville. They're not trying to relive that moment whatsoever, but this team looking really, really good.
Yeah, we thought beginning of the year that they would be in the mix. We talking about what team would knock off Green Run. We felt Salem had the best chance. I think Cox is in that talk. And the thing, when I'm looking at the numbers for Cox, I think of Cox back in the day, strictly a strong running team. Really, really just pound you to death. But looking at last night's game, they're pretty evenly based. Put the ball in for 168 yards in the air, and we're talking 114 on the ground. Right. So somewhat balanced. And something that's uncharacteristic, they had 8 penalties for 85 yards.
Goes back to what I was saying earlier. What's up with these penalties everywhere? Is it an officials thing? Is it a players thing? Why do we keep seeing all these? Somebody's got to have an answer for me. Crazy.
High school, and I don't want to dwell on it again. High school, I will say this. The referees, the football coaches, probably, I don't know if they agree. I think sometimes the referees get a little flag happy in high school because of control, because it can get out of control quick. It's a physical game. Sure. People smashing into each other, testosterone taking over.
Order. You want to have order, and I get it. We get it.
I think from a high school standpoint, I can see why flags go flying on that level. And then it diminishes a little bit as we keep going up because you don't have that reason as you go up higher. We think the older these players are,
sure,
they're more mature in how they're playing and control their emotions. That does not allow them to get penalties. Right. That's not always true. So that could be that. But that we've mentioned about that penalty thing. But I like Cox's chances. And I'll tell you what, in watching that film, even though they lost, Ocean Lakes has done some really nice things where in the last few years been a struggle because we keep thinking of Ocean Lakes years ago when Chris Scott was there. They were the powerhouse. But they're putting together that program back to where it needs to be and doing some really good things.
Well, and as the Cox results scrolls on our ticker here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV, we're going to get to Green Runs game with Salem in a second and hear from Brandon Williams. The one thing that I would say for James Yeager, you tell me if it's encouraging or discouraging. I had them as a top 4 team. You kind of scoffed at first, and you've come around. You've come on board to me, and they're 4-1. Got a key game on Thursday night against Kempsville, who ended up edging Lancetown in a fairly close battle. Lancetown's got a lot of young kids, but the Chiefs under Darryl Cherry pulled that out 16-12. Got to turn the page. They had 2 non-offensive touchdowns, as you see on the scoring summary of that game. Devin McGill's 84-yard kickoff return and a 17-yard scoop and score for William Boogie Raines. Didn't have their typical output passing, only 89 total yards, and they scored 24 points in a quarter. Go figure. So you wonder, 2 non-offensive touchdowns. It shows you can score other ways. They got to get the offense on track. This is a real pivotal game for them coming up with Kempsville, because then they still got Salem, Lancetown, Bayside, Green Run. Dolphins could go from thinking they'll host a first-round game to being on the playoff bubble. This is a big game for their season coming up.
Yeah, they're going to have to really plow through some of these teams to try to get to that playoff conversation talk. I don't think they're going to plow through the Green Runs and the Salems of the world, but they can't avoid having a losing streak is what I'm getting at. Right. They're going to have to beat some of those teams where the game go either way. It's going to have to go their way. Yep. No, I don't think they have the firepower to beat a Green Run or Salem. No. But they're going to have to get their share of those other games. If they beat Kempsville in impressive fashion, I'm curious to see that. We'll get to Salem here in a moment, the psyche of the Sun Devils, because Green Run took care of business. And you'll hear, by the way, Jaden Anderson and Kassan Farrar next week on The Hash with Hatfield. We tease it. We don't save some of the clips for the next show. That big show next week we'll do probably around Wednesdays, but we're aiming for next week. And we'll have an interview guest again, I'm sure, on The Hash with Hatfield. We gave our Chicho's Pizza 757 Football Player of the Week. Got him his plaque, thanks to our man, Brucey P. But here is Brandon Williams, the head coach of the Stallions, after their win on Friday night, as the Beach District streak keeps going on. 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
All right, here with the Green Red head football coach Brandon Williams after his team's 40-18 victory over the Salem Sun Devils to move to on the season 6-0, as the streaks now are 44 and counting against Beach District teams and 39 in the regular season. Coach, they jump out 3-0. You guys score 18 unanswered. It's an 18-11 game after they hit an 80-yard TD plus the 2-point conversion. But second half, it looked like the Green Run football team we've seen the last few years dominate the Beach. What was the difference from half number 2 compared to half number 1?
We just woke up, stopped listening to all the hoopla, and we played Green Run football, like you said. The first half was it was very intense. Kids were looking forward to this one. A lot of back and forth social media talk all week long. But that's high school football for you. So once we cleaned all that up and got focused and focus on the task at hand, we took care of business.
Sure. A couple weeks ago, your quarterback was going to UConn, and Kassan Farrar got our Chicho 757 Football Player of the Week. Tonight, he gets 354 total yards with 5 touchdowns, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. He's living up to the past QBs you have, and in some ways could be better in a lot of respects, right?
Yeah, I was very proud of Kassan tonight. He stepped into the leadership role tonight and willed us to this victory. The sky's the limit from that young man. He's actually heading to UConn tomorrow morning on a visit. So, I'm looking forward to this run with him. And like I said, for his senior campaign, he's doing what he needs to do to help us win.
You got some multiple future Hokies as well. Zeke Chinwiki on the defensive side of the ball. Knowledge Harrell, who gets a TD catch and a pick tonight. He's a savvy leader for you. And then Jaden Anderson, how explosive is this young man? 9 catches for 174 yards, 2 TDs. I try to bait them, say, all right, are you the best receiver, best QB, see each other? But I know you feel like he's the best receiver around, right? And in the state.
No question. Like I said, he's not going to worry with his size. He's not going to, he's just that athlete and that football player that makes plays. And, we joke around, but I don't want to put this tag on him, but we call him Young Person around here.
Yeah, well, that's high praise, Young Person. But does it make you and your coaches and your OC, Q Payton, does it make you guys fearless because 4th down situation, 3rd and long situations, you can call a lot of different things because of him, right?
Right. And like I said, our offense runs through Jaden. Of course, we got some guys around him with like CJ and Knowledge and whatnot, and Kassan, what he does with his legs and arms. But like I said, our offense runs through Jay.
Sure. A few more before we let you run. I know you're not pleased with the 16 penalties for 147 yards. How do you go about cleaning that up? Because I know some games it'll happen, some games it doesn't. And this game was called tight tonight.
Trust me, we're going to clean that up in practice next week. So, like I said, that starts with me. That's on me. We won't go through this again. Like I said, we'll get to next week, clean this up in practice, and we want to, get ready for the next opponent, which is last time.
Sure. Last 2 for you. I think the underrated or underappreciated elements outside of your program is your running game, or your back now in Charles Jackson, who can not only run it but catch it, and then your defense. Until tonight, you had not given up a touchdown defensively. Second half, they were lights out. Tell me what those two groups have done as you try to go further and further this year and reach some of those goals.
Like everybody knows, the running game is very important as the further you go into the playoffs. So with him in the backfield, running hard as he can, and then catching it outside the backfield, it makes us more dynamic offensively. And like I said, we keep on playing defensively. Our priest to be the most physical team on the field. On Friday nights, and like I said, we displayed that in the first 6 games, and we want to continue to do that throughout this run.
Sure. And lastly, I know your goals are region championship, state championship, but you're running through the beach here. How do you fight complacency and not getting bored as a group? Because this was viewed as your biggest battle on the beach. How do you guys approach that and deal with it?
We can't afford to get complacent. Like I said, this is not new to us. We've been here before, so we know what it takes. And like I said, we just working on ourselves, preparing ourselves for the playoff run, and hoping we can get to the best football, play our best football of the year when we get there.
It's not new to them, but it might be new to all of you out there. The Steins keep it winning. Congrats on the victory. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Good job.
So there you heard it. Brandon Williams' team roaring 40-18 now, 44 in a row against Beach District schools, 39 regular season. Here they are, Edward. After a scoreless first quarter, you wouldn't think it'd be a 40-burger put on a Salem team that defensively, they've been known, that's the hallmark of their program, going back to when Robert Jackson coached them and then Sean Wilson, and now under Mark Hall in his second full season as the head coach, the former Green Run standout who played his college football at UVA, doing a fine job of that program. They were giving up just 7 points per game coming in, but how many yards do you think the Stallions finished up with after that scoreless first quarter?
350.
It's a good guess. 262 through the air, 213 on the ground, 475 yards.
Wow.
So you hold them down for a quarter. Think about this. You're playing Maury and Phoebus. Like Bethel, we're up 21-14. We're good. They get 50 on you. Maury, all right, we kept them out of the end zone for a possession. They end up 60 or 70. Like, Green Run, all right, they don't find the end zone. And they still get you for 475 yards on a night where they got flagged 16 times for $147. And it speaks to Kassan Farrar right now, who's leading the area in passing. There's a lot of talented quarterbacks. He's going to UConn this week. In fact, he's committed there, so you heard about that. Huskies, we'll see what transpires there, by the way. There's been some whispers that coaching staff might not be safe. We'll see. So if his recruitment does reopen and someone could get involved with him potentially. Nonetheless, they have to like their chances every time they go out with that type of offense. And Jaden Anderson, I thought it was fascinating. I don't know about you, to hear Brandon Williams say, as good as Farrar is, and again, he was a player of the week 2 weeks ago, 262 through the air, 92 yards on 5 attempts with a TD rushing, so he accounted for 5 TDs. But our offense runs through Jaden Anderson, the wide receiver going to Virginia Tech, who had 9 catches for 174 yards. You don't usually hear about a team saying their offense runs through a receiver after they lost a record-setting receiver in Keelan Brody-Adams, who's now at Virginia Tech. You don't hear that too often. But watching the game last night, 4th downs, 3rd downs, they were fearless. And you see why. I'm amazed that Salem couldn't. I mean, you don't always stop a guy of that caliber, but they could not take him out of the game. If you can't take him out of the game, you're not beating those guys, or at least containing him. Maybe not, shutting him down to 1 or 2 catches. And then Charles Jackson now with 52 yards rushing, TD there, and also had 5 grabs for 53 yards. He's sort of a multi-purpose back that can do it rushing and receiving. They get a lot of weapons, and you said you thought somebody might. I think you might want to eat those words, and it's not happening. Nobody's stopping that beat streak. It's going to go into 2025.
I said they would lose a game this year during regular season. Now,
what were you thinking?
I know. Listening to Coach Williams. By the way, if anybody does a remake of Barry White, the great soul R&B singer,
are you calling Brandon Williams Barry White?
Barry White. Brandon has Barry White voice. He would be. Nice. He could just. I don't know if he can sing, but if he can learn some of the Barry White tunes, ooh, yeah. Barry White was one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, Brandon has that voice. Green Run. In listening to you, hearing some of the statistics, they are definitely in another level. When you can be scoreless against supposedly your biggest opponent, strongest opponent, and Salem is a good team.
Sure.
Green Run is a great team, and they were able to figure it out And not just, oh boy, we squeaked by that. I told you, y'all better pay attention. No, they crushed them. And and the other team I thought might have shot at knocking them off, Cox, they shut them out.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm sorry, Beach teams. Green Run's not losing. They're not losing in the Beach. That's definitely not happening. Now, what they have to do is take that same mentality, because it's all about execution, but take that same mental mentality as they get into the playoffs, because they should be able to hang, if not beat, anybody that they come across in the playoffs. But as you know, as you go deeper in the playoffs, it's wide open. Anybody can win that. It's very, very rare a team just runs through regular season, runs right through the playoffs like total domination.
Right.
That's not really, you don't really see that a lot, because they're going to play somebody who's almost a mirror image of them. And I hear Green Run gets well over 100 yards in penalties, and it looks like it doesn't even phase them. But now that's a part of the game, and I'm sure Brandon takes care of it. We can't do this, fellas.
No.
We're 100 yards a game penalties. We're going to play somebody that's going to take advantage of that. We're going to give a great field position.
Yes.
And we're going to hurt our own selves, especially if it's on defensive side. So they have proven they belong in the classification of great teams because they have the weapons, possibly the best quarterback in the area. They've got a wide receiver that is a game breaker, can take over the game. And, you know, some teams have really good receivers, but if you can't get the ball to them and their ability to run after catch for yardage, why have a wide receiver?
Well, props to Coach Williams and Coach Q Payton, his offensive coordinator, and that staff. Some of the play calls, they had a flea flicker that was nice. They moved him around. They used him on a jet sweep. You have to utilize your weapons in different ways, and they create mismatches with those guys. So let me, if I can, share on the screen here for you, Edward, before we take our time out here and come back with some final thoughts on the Friday action. Today's Phoebus Hampton game. The Class 5 top 10 that we had on VirginiaPreps.com this past week. So the records will be a little different, folks. This was entering games on October 3rd. You see it on your screen now, Edward? Can you see it? Is that clear enough for you?
Yeah, I got to lean in a little bit, but I'm looking.
You had it was Maury Matoka, Kings Fork, Green Run, Warwick, Indian River, LC Bird, Salem, William Fleming, and you see who's number 10. Well, we'll scroll down for you for number 10 to see that was Granby as they shut out Booker T, and they got their 5th straight shutout as they blanked Lakeland on Friday night by a count of 57-0. So Granby, for the first time ever, they did it twice in the 40s, back in the fantastic 40s, Ed Young's favorite decade. They had 2 times, 1940 and 1946, when they had 4 straight shutouts. This is the first time ever they've had 5 consecutive shutouts. So of that top 10, it was unchanged last week. It'll be changed this week with both Indian River going down and Salem going down. Is Green Run in the right placement, number 1? And number 2, in that top 10, any team intrigue you the most as far as biggest challenger or threat to the overwhelming favorite in the Maury Commodores?
I can't speak a lot about Matoka. Obviously, they're not in our region. You know them well. You got them ranked high.
Why haven't you been getting film from your football friends and studying them with
I've requested film, but in most cases, they don't come through.
They've ignored and declined your request? Yeah. I'm surprised.
Right. And I don't want to put your name out there because usually you come through, but obviously at times you don't. So I'll
get you some film. That'll be on my agenda for this week. I will make that an effort. Go ahead.
It is, as well as I'm speaking of Green Run, when I look at the standings, they're already over a couple of really good squads in Warwick, Indian River, all those teams. Of course, they beat Salem, who probably will drop out of your top 10.
They probably will. And you could see Cox jump in there, who took a loss by a wide margin to Green Run of 34-0 back on September 20th. And by the way, as you continue on, the honorable mention teams this past week, the only 2 of them were Ocean Lakes at 4-0, Cox at 4-1. So there you have it.
Yeah, I say drop Salem out of the top 10, but then again, you're going to put Cox in. Well, Cox lost to Green Run also. And Salem was pretty good, undefeated, just like Cox was, but it's a little later in the season. So why would you penalize Salem to drop them out of there and put a team in who did the exact same thing Salem has done? Now, obviously, when Salem and Cox play each other, that's going to be a little different story.
It'll be settled. Yeah, that'll be settled then. Yeah.
Somebody come out of that. But when I'm looking at those top, Warwick right behind Green Run, we thought Warwick would be a little down this year, weren't quite as good as I don't think they're any different than they were last year. It seems like they're right on par, shutting people out for the most part, though Gloucester got a touchdown on them. And Kings Fork knocked off a very, very, very good Indian River team. I might, I know my Bulldog people who love me dearly are going to hate to hear this.
Whoa.
Green Run over Kings Fork, jump over Kings Fork.
Wow.
Maybe.
You say that after what Kings Fork did on Friday night to Indian River. And if you're not familiar with what they did, we'll talk about it now. They just steamrolled them 33-7. I heard they just bullied them. I wasn't there. Our man Will Garlick was at the game, covering it for us on Virginia Prep, so he'll have some follow-up on that. But all indications I received about the game was that it was just a thorough beatdown. Once Indian River muffed the punt, it was all she wrote. All she wrote.
Yeah, I kind of feel, again, in that type of game where we talk about if you're going to beat somebody, you got to come in with the right mentality. Kings Fork had it. That game was at Kings Fork, correct?
Yes, 2 touchdowns from Javon Ford. They mixed in some pass games, special teams, which was really critical to them in their win over Nansemond River last week, where it was a close ball game. They eked it out by a margin of 32-27. They win this one 33-7. They get 2 field goals from Jean-Pierre Belay. He's 3 for 3 on PATs as well. River muffs the punt. Zadarius Wynn, who scored last week, it's a 51-yard TD reception from quarterback DeAndre Artis-Boone. And then that defense came to play that shut Indian River down to 7, which was an early score in that game. A first quarter touchdown, 20-yard pass from Cam Kirby to Jason Preston. Cam Kirby, I should say, the Bayside transfer, the reigning Cheat Show 757 football player of the week. They bottled him up. Kings Fork, I feel like I'm up OU. I think Green Run still got some things to clean up. I think Kings Fork validated their ranking, maybe feeling that they're a smidge better than Matoka and that they belong on the same field with the Maury Commodores on Thanksgiving weekend. That's my feeling after last night's win. Now, they still have something to prove in their district. As much as the streak is nice for them, by the way, we talk about these streaks for Green Run. We talk about these streaks for Kings Fork, which has now won 15 in a row in the regular season, 13 in the Southeastern District. You know who's just snickering at all these streaks right now? The Phoebus Phantoms, because they, sir, have won 61 in a row in the regular season over Peninsula District teams, 62 in the PD. Their win streak overall is now at 39 consecutive games total as 3-time defending state champs. They haven't lost to a PD school since 2016 when Woodside beat them. So Phoebus is over there saying, streaks are nice and fun. We got the real streak here. But I think Kings Fork might be – they rose to the occasion. There was statement wins for both Green Run and Kings Fork on Friday night. There's no doubt about it. That was one of my hat's hits. But we'll see. Oscar Smith coming up October 25th is now kind of your big anticipation game, I think, for folks in the 757. We've kind of got some of the other district battles out of the way. I think that's kind of the one people are circling and clamoring for. Although Oscar Smith has Indian River in 6 days. So we'll see if the Braves can bounce back there.
Yeah, that would be interesting. City rivalry with Chesapeake and Indian River coming off what has to be in their minds embarrassing because they didn't give a good account of themselves, of who they really are. Some mistakes early, and then I think mentally they might have phased out of that game. And Kings Fork, we talk about punching in the face, so to speak. They are a physical team. That's one thing you're definitely going to get from Kings Fork is physicality. And if you're not ready for that, you're already going to be down a couple touchdowns.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Right in the kisser. And Suffolk coaches have been known to feel that. So
are you talking about you or somebody else?
No, I'm talking about the football coaches.
Oh, okay.
Pow right in the kisser happens a lot. Sometimes more literally than figuratively. But
I know where you're going now. It took me a minute. I'm a little slow today. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, most days you are slow. But that Region 5, when you had those standings up there,
Class 5.
Class 5. You looking at, you almost could take any one of those top 6 and win a state title with and have a state title and be like, man, they look at all these other teams.
Assuming you don't have to play more, you mean, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Maury still is shoulders and chest above everybody.
What is wrong with them? They did not have as dominant an effort as I thought they would on Friday night, only beating Norcom 49-12. Shame on them. Shame on them. By the way, last week, Matt Williams had not 1 but 2 pick sixes because he's got the best first name in the area. So they have it.
I would kind of think it was more than because of his first name.
That first name helped him. The power of the mats.
No,
Don't underestimate the mats, the doormats and the real mats.
Yeah, the doormats, I could see that. I mean, you've represented that. You probably can get a deal with a company that has doormats. You probably would do. They can have your face on the mat.
Yeah.
And it would be hello, Matt. It would be hello, Matt.
Yeah.
That you can make some money on that one. You should get your agent to look into that for
my agent.
Yeah, that'd be your NIL money right there. Use your image and likeness for a doormat.
All right, so we're going to take a timeout, and we've got NFL picks coming up soon. We'll go through some more results from Friday night, and you can always interact with us, react to what we have to say, the good, the bad, the ugly. And right now, though, we have a timeout to take. We'll come back with more right here on Cova Sports TV. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. And I know Ed wants to hear from Dairy Queen. You'll hear from them and some others. Stay tuned.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
As a lifelong local, avid waterman, coach at Kellam High School, coach at the Virginia West Shopping Club, also a member at Virginia Beach National and Henry Ridge Golf Club. The 757 is a great place to live and play. As a seasoned realtor at the Bryan Group, I know I can find you the perfect home.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by Doubletree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. College football only comes to Virginia Beach once a year. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
What is a computer's favorite food? Microchips.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
You ever had any microchips, Edward?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I did have the other day for the first time ever sweet potato chips.
First time in your life?
And you know what? I found out I like sweet potato chips. I'm not a sweet potato person that eats sweet potato pie and all that, but the sweet potato chips were to my liking.
Okay, nice to know. Hey, we've got NFL picks around the corner, but let's go through some more results that transpired from Friday night and in the 757 and sort of beyond. So we'll get your thoughts, hearing them and seeing them, and just the takeaways from them for you. Here they are from Friday night, 757 and beyond high school football action for all of you out there. Southeastern District, you heard about Kings Fork's big win over the Indian River Braves, doing so 33-7, as impressive as it gets, were the Bulldogs in that contest in Suffolk. You also had in the SED, Nansemond River shutting out Western Branch 21-0. Deep Creek a winner 14-13. Rays, Purple Thunder, Breon Cuffey, and the Hornets got it done. Heat power in their offenses. Hickory made a comeback down 14-0 to get it close, make it a little dicey, put a little pressure on them, but they could not make it to 4-1 after their first 3-1 start to a football season in 13 years. And also in the SCD, by the way, Oscar Smith was idle. A victory for the Grassfield Grizzlies. Kudos to them. Joe Jones's group gets their first W. They beat Great Bridge 29-15. And I think you got me on that game, right? Didn't you take Great Bridge, or did you take Grassfield?
You took Great Bridge. I took Grassfield.
Yeah, you got me on that one. So you're back in Rod Johnson's good graces.
Yep, I think Rod will.
You didn't jinx him. You didn't jinx him. I'm stunned. Yeah.
No, I told you the jinx is on you. Remember now, you had the dude on your at the hash show, and look what happened.
The dude on the hash show, that dude would be Donnell Brown. He's you could refer to him as just that dude. I mean, come on, jeez.
It escaped my mind. I apologize to Coach Brown. Hickory's having a good year, and you brought him on, and they lose. Now you'll never get him again.
What can Brown do for you? Oh, you're blaming me. It's my fault. Maybe it was your fault. Maybe it was your fault that you didn't pick him. Maybe it was your fault that you didn't pick him to beat Deep Creek. How about that? Did you ever give that any thought?
No, it had nothing to do with it, because the Ed Young reverse psychology should be able to work. If I pick against you, chances are you're going to win. So most people have told me, pick against me, pick us to lose, pick us to lose. I get email, text message, pick us to lose, pick us to lose. I'm not a professional prognosticator, as my record shows.
Nobody's emailing you or text messaging you. They don't have your number or your email. So don't be lying to the public out there. Stop telling these fake.
No, they do. They have it.
No, they don't. I mean, that was so confusing, the reverse psychology thing. That was more confusing than the list I looked at last night and talked about on my Hats Hits IG Live social media butterfly show that I do on Friday nights past midnight into Saturday, where I don't know if you saw, IMDb has its top 250 movies of all time list. And I was very upset that my cousin Vinny did not make the list. Summer Rental did not make the list. They put Shawshank Redemption number 1. Godfather 1 and 2 were in the top 5 as well. And then they had Casino at 142 and Rocky at 213. What is wrong with these people to have those two movies that low? Those are classics. Those are top 50 movies, right?
Yeah, Rocky's top 20.
The music alone. I don't know about top 20. That's a tricky one.
I'd have to see the list.
Go check it out. I'll send you a link later. You can have a whole segment next week on your list and give us your top 10 list, which I'm sure will anger people to no end. Other action, Eastern District, real quickly. Lake Taylor, Hank Sawyer, your good pal, our good friend and buddy. He's off to Schneid. They beat Booker T. Washington 53-12. Norview got a win, their first of the season. They have an interim coach right now. 35-12. They beat the Manor Mustangs. 12 must be the running number, because that was the points that Norcom scored in a loss to Maury, 49-12, and Granby 57-0 over Lakeland. Question on Granby real quick for you. Can they get to game number 10 like Warwick did a season ago? I think they're this year's Warwick, without having given up a touchdown on defense. So far, they've shut out Denby, Kickingham, Norview, Booker T, Lakeland. You say, Matt, come on now. None of those teams are playoff teams, winning record teams. They got Lake Taylor next, who they beat soundly last year, I think kept out of the end zone. Then it's Churchland and Norcom and Manor. Now, I know what you're going to say, Matt. Norcom and Churchland are going to find the end zone against them. You said that last year about the Hampton Crabbers against Warwick, and it did not happen. Is it possible? Is it conceivable? Is it attainable that the Granby Comets, don't call them vomits, they're Comets, are 9-0 playing Maury, and not only 9-0 playing Maury, but playing them without having given up a defensive touchdown the whole year, which we know if that's the case, it will definitely change against Maury.
No, they're not going into that game shutting everybody out from a defensive standpoint.
Are they going into that game 9-0?
Their next, they could still be 9-0. They've kind of earned that respect that, hey, we're that good now. I think their next game, Taylor scores, and definitely Portsmouth.
If they get through the Portsmouth pair of the Truckers and the Greyhounds, if they get through the Portsmouth pair and they haven't given up a touchdown, two things will happen. Number one, the Maury lover, Daryl, will start telling them to go back to Portsmouth, even if it involves Granby. And number two, Ed Young is going to have to owe a public apology on this show in some type of Granby paraphernalia, hat, jersey, T-shirt, something you have to wear if they get through those games with shutouts. You have to do it. Have to do it.
No, now you don't have
why?
to.
Don't be a chicken. I'll do it. I'll do the apology for you.
Have to do it. You have to have water. You have to have food to survive.
Oh, now you're using mine against me.
It's not you have to do it. It's you probably should do it as a whimsical bet placed by you.
It's not a bet. It's an agreement. There's no bet here. Wait. There's no bet here. It's a gentleman's agreement. We're going to think we're not wagering on high school stuff. It is a gentleman's agreement.
To have a gentleman's agreement, you need two gentlemen, and I only have one on this screen right now.
Well, I can't help that you're not a gentleman. I hear you're not gentle, so that's not my fault. That's something you have to work on and fix on your own, in your time and your space. So, But will you do it? Okay, enough of the back and forth politically
what
correct.
You're saying is, if they get to Manor game, shutting everybody out, they're going to shut out Manor too.
Well, I mean, I would be. Well, would you not be shocked beyond belief if they get through Lake Taylor, Churchland, Norcom, and Manor scores on them? That's the team that scored on them. The team that has scored basically less than 4 or 5 points a game this year. I would be shocked out of my mind if that happened.
I would jump on the bandwagon with you that if they get to that point and they've shut everybody out, they will shut out Manor.
Okay.
Yes, that's much easier than those games right ahead of them. The odds for them shutting out Manor.
I mean, I didn't ask you to wear a Granby jersey to the Maury game and really have you get, razzed and have the hex put on you by Daryl. I didn't make you go to that extent. I thought it was a pretty, what's the harm in that?
You always think your gentleman agreement are great.
You're not coaching anywhere. What are you squawking about?
I don't even own a Granby hat jersey.
We'll get you one. Jerry DeVender's a Granby grad. I'm sure he's got one he can give you out of his closet.
I probably wouldn't be able to fit his from the years gone by.
Lord mercy. You don't want to do anything fun. You are a no fun zone kind of guy. You know that?
You have to define fun. Your warped sense of humor defines fun for what you have.
Warped sense of humor. You just said they can't do it. You said it last year about Warwick. I didn't make you wear any Warwick stuff. I should make you wear a Warwick hat and a shirt and a Granby hat and a shirt. That's what I should do.
Or I can do it the double jersey like Ryan.
Yeah, Warwick on one side, Granby on the other.
Yeah, you get me that jersey, I'll wear it.
And I'll make you have to wear it when they play Maury both times. Then you'll really get the heat put on you from Daryl and others.
Yeah, I don't want that Daryl hex on me. No way.
You just back down from all challenges. You I don't know what's happened to you. Beach District, we told you about Cox winning 32-24 over Ocean Lakes. Green Run 40-18 over Salem. This is one we got wrong. Kellum had a big red zone stand on 4th down to hold off Tallwood. The Knights shining in and out of armor, 11-7 for Brian Neese's crew as they get ready for a key tilt with Salem coming up on Thursday. Did we say upset alert for Salem? Well, they don't think so. And First Colonial, how about those Patriots? It makes our buddy James Timmons a happy camper. They were able to hold off a Princess Anne rally as they got the job done 20-13 over the Cavaliers for the first win this season under Coach Lamort Smith, who you jinxed last year. Ever since he came on with us last year, they hadn't won a game. They finally get one because we sent you to Abu Dhabi. Micah Hathaway with a touchdown, also a pick six from 55 yards out from Tyson Fisher. Get the job done for the Patriots of FC. So there you have it. That covers the beach. Real quickly, the Peninsula and Bay Rivers action from a Friday night. We talked about the games on Thursday. As far as the Bay Rivers, Pocosin 31, Jamestown 0. New Kent a winner, 29-21 over Tab. Smithfield over York, 20-0. And you have two PD games today. Of course, Hampton Phoebus, Gloucester at Menchville, and last night Warwick a 48-0 winner over Heritage. Any thoughts about those results? Most of them went status quo according to form, as you like to say, I would suspect. And Hampton Phoebus, it's not what the rivalry used to be, although the Crabbers, some might be surprised to hear this statistic, Edward. Crabbers are putting up offensively 39 points per game. It's just a little bit below Phoebus's 41.5 points per game. I'm not sure we get a shootout, and the Crabbers can do that against the Phoebus defense. An angry Phoebus defense after what happened last week.
Yeah, you're right about that because you might have those points against everybody else, but you haven't paid Phoebus until today. And Phoebus really, really prides himself in shutting people out. And that's their game plan. As far as thoughts on the Beach District, the Kellum game, the first Colonial game, and I think it was the Tulla game. When you sent me the picks, those three games I kept staring at for the longest because I wanted to go against you in two of the three, and I ended up going with you, I think, in all three.
You're a chicken.
Yeah, I was chicken on that. In fact, I was eating some wings when I was doing those picks.
You can't say where because they don't sponsor the show yet.
Yeah, I can't say it, but yeah, I was looking at First Colonial. I guess I would like to see Philip Sims get a win over there at PA, and I thought
He was close. He got a kickoff return from a Johnny Martin, and they were driving, got picked in the end zone to pick six there. My whole premise on why I leaned with PA, and I would do it again probably 6-7 times out of 10, was I thought FC would be short players, and they might have been from that ejection. Remember the fight at the end of the first quarter with Salem. I didn't think they'd have enough healthy bodies, and we know PA's been short on bodies. So I just, I have a 6-game lead. I can take some chances in this life. You're not the risk taker. You're not the risk taker that I am. Clearly.
See, that's the problem. To catch up with you, I'm going to have to take some crazy risk. But at the same time, I have to be careful because if the risk backfires, then I'm way, way, way behind you. Won't be able to catch.
That's the whole plan is to bait you into taking risks, and it's risk reward. Risk for you, reward for me.
I think New Kent. They screwed me again. I picked Tab.
Screwed you.
Yeah, that's the one program that gets me every year.
Every year.
I think in the other games, Peninsula Bay Rivers, I think we picked this similar.
We didn't have any disagreements. The Southeasterns where we had the disagreement. The Beach, we had the one. Yeah, but you made up some ground this week. You've now made it a respectable battle now all of a sudden. So
I'm four behind you. That's still not good enough.
But you're not getting bludgeoned just yet. We will bludgeon you later in the show. But listen, it's all about risk reward on this program. Risk for Edward Young, reward for all of you and me. That's what it's about. When we come back, we have NFL picks for week number 5 in the league where they play for pay. Yours truly, the coach Ed Young, and our man Bruce Pearl of Virginia Beach Mustangs fame. Pearl was 1-2 last week. He won on Cincinnati, lost on Pittsburgh, who fell to the Colts 27-24, and lost on the Packers -2.5 against the Vikes at Lambeau Field. Nick Senti's Vikes, one of 2 unbeaten teams, by the way, along with the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They're in London, by the way, the Vikes against the Jets. The Jets with 757 flavor, by the way, in Jalen Holmes of Lake Taylor, Chuck Clark at Kings Fork. Ed was 1-2. He lost on the Jets -7.5. They say when you're a Jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Ed was never a Jet all the way. And he's not with them all the way the rest of the year. Houston -6.5. Didn't cover it. He won 24-20 against the Jags. He did win on Cincinnati -4.5 because he copied Bruce. And I was 2-1. Got off the schneid, baby. I lost on the over-under of 46.5 Ravens and Bills. How was that another bad beat for me? 35-10, no scoring late to get it to me there. It was head there, unbelievable. But thankfully, the Lions came through for me, 42-29 to cover the 3.5 against the Seahawks. And the Niners spanking the Pats, coached by Kickotan grad Sherrod Mayo, 30-13. So we'll come back, do our picks. Ed is brushing up on it as he tries to maintain his lead. It's all coming your way right here on Cova Sports TV. But our final timeout of the day, and we'll be back with those selections.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
We're not sure he's an evil basketball coach anymore because right now he's not coaching basketball anywhere at this particular time. He still remains a free agent. The not quite retired Ed Young with his 500-plus career wins. And is that a picture of Larry Bird on your what do you call that, bookcase up there? Is that Bird up top by the basketball?
Bird is
it's the WWE Championship belt, which you should relinquish to me because I beat you in the picks the last 2 years.
But yeah, Bird is up there somewhere. I got the Celtics over there. I've got
you're not a real Celtics fan. You're a Yankees fan. You can't be rooting for the Yankees and the Celtics. That's like anti-human being.
Yeah, I am going to root for both. That's a definite.
I'm going to root against your Yankees today. I'm rooting against the Yankees. I'm rooting against the Mets. I'm rooting against the Padres. And sorry, Tigers, I'm rooting against you guys too. But them winning won't pay me as much as the other three. Yankees and Dodgers top of the list though for me. Yeah. And I usually don't have trouble with the Mets, but I do now. So
America wants the Yankees to lose. I understand that.
I don't care what America wants. America doesn't get what it wants. You just now learning this?
That's a whole nother story.
Hope they get a San Diego, Cleveland. Yeah, I've traded in my stripes for a division foe and rival that beat us 2 out of 3 because I'm just that kind of way.
Now, Major League Baseball definitely wants Yankees and Dodgers because
I know they do, and I'll vomit it in a bucket if that happens.
I wouldn't mind it, but I really do. I'm pushing the Yankees, Mets. If that can't happen, give me Yankees, Phillies.
How good is that on the screen? That is just so awesome what's showing there. 2-1 for me last week, 1-2.
Where is the overall? Where's the overall picks? Because
we don't need to show that, do we? Do we need to show that?
Well, every year we've done it. So overall, Ed Young is in the lead. I'm playing a Central Division type record at 5-7, but overall I'm up there. And Hatfield is sweeping brooms.
I'm 2-10. I started out 0-9 for the first time in my life. And, I had Dino and me, when we had our buddy Dino Franza from the radio station, did his dogs. We were just mopping the floor with you. I need to give Dino a call to help me out because right now it's not looking too good for me. It's just not looking good at all. It's very discouraging, very frustrating. Well, what we've done the last couple weeks, folks, because Ed is winning this now at 5-7, he can go tell his friends, all 6 of them, about what a job he's doing. We're going to let Ed fist pump it there. We're going to we usually give you Bruce's picks at the start of this, and Bruce is behind. But I was 2-1, so I'm going to go first on the picks today. But we're also not going to let Ed see Bruce's picks because he loves to copycat him. But I will blow the whistle. My Phil Jackson.
Great song.
I'll blow the whistle if you do take 2 of Bruce's picks. You allowed 1, but I don't want to unveil them until the very end.
So you can't fault me because I don't know what the picks are.
Well, that means once I blow the whistle a second time, you can't do it again. You've done it once, you can't do it again. So that's the whole premise here. But let's fire up the music because I got to get myself to Darling Stadium here shortly. Let's do it here with the football music to finish up the show. First pick for me, we're going to take a game. We fought really hard about the London game, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, do you know, Ed, they're the last winless team? And I believe
don't do it. Don't do it. I've got Jacksonville.
No, too bad. Too bad. I'm doing it. -3 against the Colts. I wanted the 2.5, but it's now -3. I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. This is their last stand. They're not going anywhere this year. Peterson's getting fired at the end of the year, if not sooner. However, Mike Bianchi of the Orlando Sentinel picked them to win the Super Bowl. He made the same mistake I did last year. They're not doing that. Probably not making the playoffs. But the Colts with Joe Flacco, it's got to end here in the Sunshine State. They don't get this win. I think the Jags do cover. The 3 worries me. I liked it better at 2.5. I could cheat like you and get it at 2.5, but I'll take Jags -3 for pick number 1. What are your first 2 and next 2 selections?
Well, that throws me for the proverbial alphabet loop.
Loop?
Because I think Jacksonville.
Loop with a loop. Yeah.
But see, this before I make my pick, this is what I don't understand. The Vegas odds makers. Jacksonville is winless and has not looked good. Now, I know they're home. I know Richardson may not play for the Colts, but how can you put the Jaguars as a favorite team? That just doesn't sound right.
Because they know something that you don't know.
Yeah, maybe I might start believing some of these people conspiracy. It's all fixed.
Fixed?
And who knows?
Well, if it's fixed, it's definitely fixed in America's lame time. What's transpired this week to keep the best team in baseball in terms of scoring runs out of the playoffs, and my D-backs, and the team that's given up the fewest runs, and our man Mark Davis from Channel 3, Seattle Mariners, out of the postseason is just wrong. It's disgraceful. It's a sham. It's a mockery. It's a shamockery. I'm still upset about that.
But as people say, when it's all said and done, throughout all the crying or whatever, the cream rises to the top. The teams that deserve to be there will be there. The teams that don't aren't.
Let's see if you still maintain that message when your Yankees go down in flames 3-0 to the Royals. And Matt Cotaro, Vinny Pasquantino, go ODU, ODU.
I am nervous.
Take them down. Take them down.
I am nervous because the Yankees have shown this year they can be pretty inept. Yes, they are there. Yes, they have the second most wins in baseball.
I hope
Clay
Holmes comes in and just vomits all over himself.
He's not our closer anymore, so that's the good.
He can still do it in the 8th. Hey, he can do it in the 7th and 8th inning. You don't have to do it in the 9th inning like Devin Williams did in the 9th. And by the way, Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, what were you drinking and smoking to get on TV on Wednesday night with Harold Reynolds and that crew and to have the audacity to say out loud, out of your mouth, that Devin Williams is the best closer in the sport after what Emmanuel Clase did for the Guardians? Are you kidding me? They didn't lose a game all year when leading after 8 innings, not one. He's the best thing we've seen since Mariano Rivera. Sorry, Mets fans. I know Edwin Diaz was great that one year, but Clase met him and surpassed that. He's the best thing we've seen since Mo Rivera. Now, doesn't mean he'll go perfect in the playoffs because Rivera got hit a couple times, including by D-backs and Luis Gonzalez in 2001, but there you go. Now, we bought enough time for you with the baseball talk amidst these NFL picks. Me taking Jags -3 first for you to get 2 selections out. So where are you going as you squinch your mouth and your teeth and all your different things you're doing with your face there to finally get a pick out of your mouth? Go ahead.
I'm going back to the Jaguar game.
You can't take the Jags. You can't take mine. Where are you going? Over, under?
I'm going under 46.5, 45.5.
Okay. I hope the Jags win this game 31-15, just to screw you. It'd be so great.
And I'm going to keep it in the family with you to your Arizona Cardinals. Since
they're bad. You're not seeing that Cardinals hat. I threw that thing in the trash can, by the way. That flag outside my house might be going in the trash pretty soon, too. They are.
I'm going to go out on the branch, and I'm going to take – I think the 49ers win it, but I'm going Cardinals to cover 7.5. That's pretty good points for a team that has some weapons. Arizona has some weapons.
I don't have anybody that tackles, though. That's the problem. 42-14 as the commies beat us. And by the way, Kenny Harris, Green Run Hoops coach, must have video called me 7 times during that game. I didn't answer a single one of them. Almost blocked him and changed my number.
Man, see, you're hard. See, when you're winning, you're calling people, you're sending out emails, texts, everything's great. But when you're losing, it's shut down city.
I'm a humble, graceful guy.
You are.
Never rub it in. It's not me.
You are a
not
troll.
in my personality.
You're one of those things that live under a bridge. Troll. You are a troll because when it doesn't go your way.
Trolls have like funky hair. Is my hair funky? Look at that. Look at my hair. Is that funky?
That looks like you've been in the pool all summer.
I have been. Go ahead. You just made your 2 picks. I get to take the next 2, don't I? All right.
No, I only picked 1, didn't I?
I
did. I picked 2.
Yeah, you did. See,
Arizona, I forgot. I hardly ever pick Arizona.
Since you picked against my Cardinals but picked them, I know what you're doing there with all your – hey, look who's tuning in. Our buddy Gene Jones says, hey, Coach, thank you for watching.
Hey, my man Gene down there in North Carolina now. Man, great to hear from Gino. A legend up here in the 757.
Right.
He was a great high school player. Norfolk Academy, was it?
Was it Norfolk Academy?
Was it Norfolk Academy you played?
He'll correct us.
Yeah, correct us if he can. A long-time coach in the area, Granby's.
Yep.
Like
I know he's got Granby ties, and I think he has some ties and connections to Phoebus in some way, shape, or form. He'll correct us, I'm sure. Well, good to hear
Gene,
from you.
Gene, I ran into Gene last year when my Nancy River team went down to Raleigh area. He's a principal down in that area. So he got away from – he's doing the easy stuff now, principal. Can you imagine that? Going from coaching into being a principal? You got to be crazy. But Gino sometimes has been a little crazy. I got some Gene Jones stories that 5-star basketball came from years ago. It has nothing to do on the court.
Save them for another episode because our time is limited here. I have to leave in less than 4
Sheridan Inn, but we'll leave it. We'll let that go.
Sheridan Inn. Wow. I don't
let that be raised because Gino is held in high esteem.
Raiders at Broncos. All right, for you and Carter and Chuck out there. Broncos -2.5 at home. I got to take it. Rookie quarterback, but Sean Payton got 2 really nice road wins over Tampa Bay and the Jets. Jets. We're making BETS bets with the Broncos. Give me them at home. And my last selection before we unveil your final one and Bruce's 3 picks. I'm going to go with an over-under. This could get me in so much trouble. For the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Browns. You know this thing was, I think, 41.5 when it opened, and it's now 43.5. I think Watson and company could be dangerous in this game. We know how good Jaden Daniels has looked. I told people, by the way, one thing I did say was, remember this, I haven't gotten much right this year. I'll admit it when I'm wrong. I haven't got much right, but I did tell you all I like the Commanders, the Commies, to win the division over Philadelphia, the Cowboys, and the hapless Giants. I still like that pick. They will have a couple letdowns. It might be this week. I think they'll score a lot of points, though, nonetheless. Give me over 43.5 for Washington and Cleveland. And it was Norfolk Catholic, Gene says. There you go. Gene says Norfolk Catholic.
All right, good.
You were close. You got the Norfolk part right.
I got the Norfolk part right.
All right. What is your final selection, sir, before we unveil Bruce's? And does it have any 757 tie to it? Maybe, maybe not, right?
I'm going to one that I think on paper is easy pick. I thought this would be one of yours real quick. Probably. No, this won't be one of Bruce's. Give me Seattle, even though it's 6.5 given up, over the Giants.
I thought about that one. That's a good pick by you. Very good pick by you. I give you credit once every 12 years, and I'm giving you credit now. So the next time I give you credit's in 2036, if you're still with us by then. If I'm still with us by then. All right, so to recap, Ed's got Seahawks -6.5, Cardinals +7.5, under the 45.5 with Jags and Colts. I'm going Jags -3, Broncos -2.5, and over to 43.5 with the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Browns. And it's now time for our buddy Bruce Burrow's picks. The Mustangs Maestro, here it is, folks. Green Bay -3, Chicago -3.5, and Washington -3 is going all NFC flavor with the Packers at the Rams, the Bears at home against the Panthers, and the Commanders against the Browns. I think he's doing, again, I see Bruce's mentality more picking against certain teams than picking certain teams. Not a bad strategy, because by the end of the year, he could end up winning the thing overall like he did last year. I won regular season, or I think he won regular season. I won the overall thing. He will get there like me to Mount 500 by the end of the year. We're going to do it. We're going to do it together, and we'll watch you go down in flames.
I think Bruce is going to go 3-0.
Do you?
I think Bruce is going 3-0. I looked at that Chicago game. I like that Chicago pick. Home against Carolina Panthers, who we Raiders lost to them. I just can't believe that. We beat Baltimore and Baltimore to lose at home to Carolina.
That's going to wrap up the show. We thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button to Cova Sports TV, and we'll do it again with you next week right here, 757 Saturday Sports Talk. So long, everyone. Enjoy your sports weekend.